Welcome to the most in-depth beginner's guide to ARK Survival Ascended that you'll ever need. This video is designed for complete newcomers. Maybe you just downloaded the game, or maybe you've tried before and gotten eaten by a raptor 5 minutes in. Either way, we're going to walk you through everything, step by step, from picking up your very first stone to building your first base, taming powerful creatures, and even preparing for late game boss fights. By the time this video is over, you'll know exactly what to do, where to go, and how to thrive in the world of ARK Survival Ascended. So you've just spawned on the beach. You're barefoot, shirtless, and probably wondering what the heck do I do next? Don't panic. First things first, look around and start picking things up. You'll want to grab stones off the ground and fiber from bushes. Just walk up and mash your interact key. On PC, that's usually E. Then punch a tree. Yes, literally punch it. It'll hurt a bit, but it gives you two main resources, wood and thatch. You'll need both of these for just about everything early on. Once you've got a little bit of wood, stone, and thatch, open up your inventory and head over to the crafting menu and make a stone pick. That's your first tool. Now, take your pickaxe and use it on a rock. It'll then give you flint. That's another must-have resource. With that flint in your inventory, go ahead and unlock the hatchet engram and craft one. Now, let's pause for a second to explain these tools. The pickaxe gives you more thatch from trees and more flint from rocks. The hatchet gives you more wood and more stone. You'll want both tools as soon as possible because they each specialize in different resource types. Next, craft a spear, or better yet, craft a few. Spears are your first line of defense. They break easily, so it's smart to have backups. You'll need them. Once you're armed, look around for a dodo, one of the slowest and safest creatures to fight. Walk up and poke it with your spear and bring it down. Then harvest the body. This is how you'll get your first raw meat and hide. This material is your foundation for crafting better gear, as well as meat. It's your main resource for food. Now that you have hide, it's time to craft a bola, and this is where the journey really begins. Bolas are used to trap small creatures like raptors, pteranodons, and even enemy players in PvP. When you throw one, it wraps around their legs and immobilizes them for a short time. That small window gives you a chance to either tame, kill, or just get away. Bolas are lifesavers in ARK, always keep a few on you. And before we move on, let's talk about armor. You're still running around mostly naked, and that's not ideal. If you gathered enough fiber and hide, go ahead and craft your first set of cloth armor. It's basic, sure, but it gives you just enough protection to survive those early attacks. We'll be upgrading soon to hide and then eventually to flak armor, but for now anything is better than nothing, so it's up to you if you want to craft cloth or hide armor. As you go through these early steps, gathering, crafting, killing, you'll start earning XP and leveling up. Each time you level, you'll get to increase one of your stats. For beginners, here's where you should focus on early. Weight, it lets you carry more without getting weighed down. Health, helps you survive longer when things go wrong. And lastly, you got melee damage. This boosts how hard you hit and also how much that you harvest from resources. Put a few points into each of those and you'll make your life a whole lot easier. Once you've got your basic stats covered, start unlocking more engrams like campfire, storage box, and your sleeping bag or bed. These unlock the next phase, building your first shelter and preparing for your first tame. Now that you've gotten the hang of basic tools and survival, let's get you leveled up even faster. One of the best ways to gain experience in ARK is finding explorer nodes. These are collectible journals scattered across the map. When you open one, you get a massive XP boost for a limited time, and that boost applies to everything that you do when it's active. On the island, one of the easiest places to start farming explorer nodes is in West Zone 2. That's where we recommended spawning earlier. There are about 4 to 5 nodes tucked around the cliffs, rocks, and beaches in that area. Just walk up to them and open the container and boom, double XP. Once the XP boost is active, this is the perfect time to craft a bunch of tools or structures, kill dinos like dodos or dilos, or just keep gathering non-stop. That double XP stacks fast, and you're going to start unlocking better gear and crafting recipes without even realizing it. Once you hit level 6 or so, you'll be able to unlock one of the most important crafting stations in the game, the mortar and pestle. Craft it, place it down on any flat surface like a foundation, and start making narcotics. This is key for taming creatures, and it's going to be part of your crafting loop forever. To make narcotics, you'll need spoiled meat. Just wait about 10 minutes or you can split stacks to speed it up, and narco berries, which are gathered from bushes. Put both ingredients into the mortar and pestle and craft your narcotics. This item is used to keep creatures unconscious while it's taming them, and to craft trank arrows, which we'll get to next. Now that you've got narcotics, it's time to get your first bow. Craft your standard bow using fiber, wood, and thatch, and then make some basic arrows. Once you have regular arrows and narcotics, unlock and craft trank arrows. These are what you'll need to use to knock creatures out safely and efficiently. Regular arrows kill, trank arrows tame. You'll want at least 10 to 15 trank arrows before attempting your first tame, and don't forget to bring some bolas. Now let's talk about your first mount. You've got two great options early on: the Pteranodon, which is a flying dino, or the Raptor, which is the fastest early game land predator. To tame either of these, you're going to want to try to sneak up and throw a bola and trap them. Fire a few trank arrows at the head until they fall unconscious, and then once they're down, access their inventory and drop in the raw meat. Now, while they're unconscious, you'll need to keep them knocked out. You'll see a purple bar that represents their torpidity. When that runs out, they wake up. To keep them down, feed them more narcotics or narcoberries. Never punch your tame. That lowers the taming effectiveness and gives you a worse creature. Now, while the dino is taming, it's vulnerable. Anything can walk up and kill it. To protect it, you can quickly craft and place a few wooden spikes around it. This blocks most wild creatures from getting too close. Once the tame is complete, you'll need to craft a saddle. For a Pteranodon saddle, you'll need hide, fiber, and keratin or chitin, which can be found from killing turtles or trilobites on the beaches. Once you've got a saddle, your tame is ready to ride. Congratulations, you just tamed your first real dino. Once you have a Pteranodon and a saddle, it's time to take to the skies. This is where ARK starts to feel huge. You're no longer stuck on foot, and you can explore the map quickly. But flying comes with its own risks, especially if you don't know what to look out for. The biggest thing to keep an eye on is your stamina bar. Pteranodons use stamina fast, even faster if you're sprinting in the air or using their barrel roll attack. If your stamina hits 0 mid-flight, your flyer won't glide or gently land, it will drop straight out of the sky. If you're over water, fine, but if you're over a mountain, lava, or a spiny infested swamp, that could be the end of your journey. So here's the golden rule: never fly too far without checking your stamina. Stop and land often. Let your bird rest. Always keep the stamina bar above 25% before heading out again. When leveling your PT, focus on stamina and weight. That way you can carry more and fly longer without crashing. After you've got a flyer, the next thing to aim for is a spyglass. This item doesn't seem flashy at first, but it's one of the most useful tools in the game. A spyglass lets you zoom in and view the level of any wild creature, even from the sky. That means that you won't waste time taming low-level dinos or run headfirst into a wild alpha raptor. It's a massive safety net. To craft a spyglass, you need crystal, fiber, and hide. It's pretty simple. The hardest part is the crystal. It's mostly found at the tops of mountains or in dangerous regions. If you're on the island, try heading to the volcano or cliffs near the snow biome. These zones are dangerous, so fly in, get the crystal, and get out. If it's too risky, remember the spyglass is optional at this stage. It's extremely helpful, but don't die for it. Wait a minute, what's that? Well, that's today's sponsor, Mitra 9. Mitra 9 is a kava and kratom seltzer company which provides an alternative to alcohol. These drinks give you a high, but without the impairment. They have a ton of great flavors, my favorite being tropical. If you're looking for a new drink to replace your coffee in the morning, Mitra is the way to go. Simply go to mitra9.com and use my code Outcasts and you will get 25% off your entire order. Now, back to the video. With your flyer and gear in hand, it's time to pick a proper base location. Choosing a good spot is a game changer. A bad base location can get you wiped out over and over. A good one gives you a solid, long-term place to grow. But what makes a good base spot? It's slightly elevated, not on the beach. It's near water for drinking and farming. It's away from dangerous spawns like Rexes, Gigas, or Alpha Dinos, and it's not right in the open. Some great starter spots on the island are Hidden Lake. It's safe, resource-rich, and easy to defend. Cliffs near West Zone 2, near early game spawn zones, and the southern beach hills, good for solo and small tribes. Scout around with your flyer before committing to a location though. If you're still using thatch, stop. Thatch is paper. A dilo can tear through it, even wood isn't great. Raptors, Carnos, and players can break it. Stone is your first real upgrade. Build a 2x2 or even a 3x3 base using stone foundations, walls that are at least 1 or 2 high, a sloped or flat ceiling, a reinforced doorframe, and a door. Inside, place a bed so that you can respawn, a storage box for just storing your supplies, a campfire for cooking, and multiple forges for smelting metal. This is the hub of your early game operations. Now that you're building with stone and flying across the map, you're going to need better gear. Once you've smelted a few ingots in your forge, it takes 2 metal per ingot, it's time to unlock the smithy. To craft a smithy, you'll need 5 metal ingots, 50 stone, 30 wood, and 20 hide. Once placed, the smithy becomes your main crafting station for everything important, from tools, armor, weapons, and more. Craft a metal pickaxe and a hatchet right away. These tools gather way more resources than the stone versions. Then make yourself a full set of flak armor. You'll be heavier, but you'll survive so much more. This is your first step toward being battle ready. Now that you've got a flyer, metal tools, and a stone base, it's time to get serious about resources. You need a team of dinos to help gather materials faster and more efficiently than you ever could by hand. Let's go over the most important creatures to tame in the mid-game. Your number 1 priority should be the Ankylo, or Anky for short. This dino is built for farming metal, flint, and stone. It's slow but hits metal rocks like a truck and drastically reduces weight of metal in its inventory, meaning that you can farm a ton without being over encumbered. Now here's how to tame one. You gotta head up to the mountain zones or cliff tops in the north, and either trap or kite the Anki. They're slow and pretty easy to kite. Use trank arrows on the head, just not the body. The head gets more torpor. And then whenever it's knocked out, feed it medjool berries or whatever berries that you have. Once you have an Anki, your next move is the Argentavis. Argies are flyers that can carry the Anki in their talons, fly to the metal nodes, and bring it back to base. They also reduce the weight of metal and other resources. Here's a little tip: use a basic dino gate trap, place 3 to 4 gates in a line, lead the Argie in, and then close the final gate, and then trank it safely inside. Once it's tamed, level up its stamina and weight on the Argies. Level melee on the Anki for more efficient gathering. The Doedicurus is a stone farming champ. It's also tanky and can roll around to travel faster. The same taming tips apply. Aim for the head with trank arrows. Just know that sometimes it's going to curl up into a ball and you just kind of have to wait until it uncurls. Once tamed, it will farm stone like crazy. It can help build out a solid stone base. Now you'll need a wood harvester. You've got a few great choices. The first one is the Therizino. This is the best all-around harvester, plus it can fight bosses later on. Coming up next, we have the Castroids, or the Beaver. This can craft from its own saddle, which acts like a smithy, and can also harvest wood relatively quick. And last up, we have the Mammoth. This farms tons of wood and buffs allies with its War Drum ability. For beginners, the Beaver is very manageable. For power and versatility, go the Therizino. Next, tame something to gather berries and fiber. The Triceratops is a solid berry gatherer and a turret soaker. The Stegosaurus especially good post-patch with alternative plate modes. And then we have the Equus. It works as a mobile mortar and pestle and can also harvest relatively well. These dinos are great for keeping your narcotic, food, and healing supplies stocked. Here are 2 unique options worth mentioning. First up, we got the Masuchops. You can level its harvesting stats for specific materials like organic polymer or leech blood. No saddle is required. Next up, we have the Mantis. This insect can hold tools like a player. Equip it with a metal hatchet or a pickaxe and it'll go to work just like you. Harder to tame but super rewarding. Now that you got a reliable farming team, it's time to move on into the industrial crafting. This is where your base stops being a wooded hut and starts becoming a real powerhouse. Your first big goal, craft a fabricator. To make one, you'll need spark powder, metal ingots, crystal, cementing paste, and oil. Now let's break it down. Crystal can be found on mountaintops or in caves. Oil can be found underwater in oil rocks or in the snow biome near dark boulders. Cementing paste comes from beaver dams, or you can craft it using chitin/keratin plus stone in a mortar and pestle. If you're looking to farm it from beaver dams, just be careful and just loot it and run as quick as you can, as beavers do get aggressive when you start to take from them. Anyways, once you have those, craft your fabricator, place it down, and you've unlocked a whole new tier of gear. The next step is building a generator. This powers your entire electrical grid, from your refrigerators, cryofridges, air conditioners, turrets, you name it. To fuel it, make gasoline by combining oil plus hide in a forge. Just make sure to keep some gasoline stored in your generator at all times. Now these are 2 of the most essential crafting structures in ARK. First up, we have the industrial forge. This smelts metal 10 times faster than regular forges. Then we have the chem bench. It's a powered upgrade to the mortar and pestle. It's great for mass producing narcotics, spark powder, gunpowder, and more. You'll need a lot of polymer, electronics, cementing paste, and metal ingots to craft these. Now let's go over how to get some of these. Now to craft electronics, gather silica pearls, which can be found underwater or on some snowy beaches, and then you're going to have to get a lot of metal ingots. Then use the fabricator to make electronics. For polymer, you have 2 options. Craft standard polymer from obsidian plus cementing paste in the fabricator, or harvest organic polymer from penguins, use a club or a chainsaw, or mantis by using a chainsaw, but mantis don't spawn on the island. A third option is corrupted dinos on extinction. The corrupted nodes are basically used as polymer, and you can just harvest it from killing them. Organic polymer also works the same as regular polymer, but does spoil over time, so use it quickly. And now that you have electricity and a fabricator, it's time to unlock cryopods, one of the most useful tools in the game. Cryopod lets you store dinos in your inventory, free up space at your base, and deploy backup tames instantly like a Pocket Giga. To craft cryopods, you'll need polymer, crystal, oil, fabricator, and electronics, but you don't really need much of them. And you also need a cryofridge to recharge and store them. Cryopods slowly lose charge if they aren't refrigerated and last about 30 days. Once this system is up and running, you'll have a fully upgraded mid-tier tech base, and you'll be ready for PvP defense, metal base expansion, and the start of dino breeding. But once you've got your base powered and your resource farming under control, it's time to dive into one of the most important mechanics in ARK, breeding. Breeding isn't just a fun extra, it's how you create dinosaurs that are stronger, faster, and more durable than anything that you'll find in the wild. In PvP and boss fights, bred dinos dominate. To start breeding, you'll need 1 male and 1 female of the same species, enough space to hatch and raise babies, and ideally air conditioners or torches to control temperatures for egg hatching. Once your dinos are close together and set on to mate, They'll either lay an egg or they'll give birth. After that, your job is to claim the baby, feed it with meat or berries depending on the species, and then imprint it when it asks for attention to boost stats. This imprinting could just be a cuddle, a walk, or even to feed it specialized meat. This is where breeding becomes powerful. When two dinos mate, the baby has a chance to get a mutation. These can increase a stat like health or melee, or even change the dino's color. You can check the mutation count in the dino's inventory under the mutations line, but stacking mutations takes some strategy. You have to breed dinos back into their own family line to basically stack mutations efficiently. It's basically just dino inbreeding. And the bad part about it is that you're not able to actually see what the mutations are, so you have to just kind of figure them out as they go, which does kind of suck, but makes it a little bit harder. Now here's how the mutation stacking works. Breed over and over, keep only the babies with the better stats, discard or cryo the rest, and then keep breeding the best into the next generations. This is how people end up with level 400 Rexes with 40,000 health and over 1000% melee. It takes time and patience, sometimes even weeks or months, but the payoff is insane. Eventually you'll want a dedicated breeder barn, a bridge full of kibble to get better imprints, and Maywings or air conditioners to help raise the babies. Also yeah, fun fact, Maywings or Maygunas can actually hold babies and raise them on their saddle. With the breeding program running, it's time to think about combat, whether for defense or full-on PvP. Here's a list of PvP powerhouse dinos to focus on. First up we have the Giganotosaurus or Giga. This thing has massive damage and a rage mechanic, it's top tier in open fights. Then we have the Charchodontosaurus. This charges up strength with every kill. It's pretty similar to the Giga but can run much faster. Next up we have the Reaper. This is able to shoot barbs, it's immune to radiation, tanky and strong. Then we have the Stegosaurus. This has multiple plate modes and can soak turret damage. The plate modes basically go from like hardened to just soaking ones. It's pretty cool how that works. Next up we have the Rock Golem. This soaks a huge amount of damage and can even camouflage as a boulder. Then we have the Wyvern. This comes in fire, lightning, and poison types as of right now. It's perfect for air support or just flying around the map fast. Then we have the Woolly Rhino. This deals massive damage when charged at full speed. Next up we have the Maywing or Mayguna. The Maywing isn't fully out yet, so I'm just gonna kind of keep that out of here. But anyways, it's a fast, silent glider and it's great for baby stealing or travel. Then we have the Pyromane. This is a fire-breathing shoulder mount. It's extremely strong but part of a paid DLC. It's pretty controversial in PvP, but in my opinion it's a cool mod, just not for $5. Each of these dinos plays a role: offensive, defensive, mobility, or soaking bullets. Even if you're on PvE, breeding definitely matters. These high stat dinos are essential for boss fights, resources, farming, and quality of life. As fun as exploring is in ARK, there are some places that will absolutely wreck you if you're not prepared. Let's go over the areas that you should definitely avoid early on, or even mid-game if you're not geared. First up, we've got the swamp. It might look like a great place to explore, but it's absolutely brutal. You've got the Capros, which leap out of the air and drag you away, Titan boas that will knock you out with one bite, bugs like the maze and titans that will swarm you, and worst of all, leeches which latch onto you and require fire to remove. If you don't have strong armor, fast mounts, and antidotes, stay far away from the swamp. Next up we have the redwoods. The redwoods are beautiful until they throw a Thylacoleo at your face. These big cats hide on trees and pounce mid-flight. Even if you're riding a flyer or you're on foot, if you're on foot, surviving the ambush is almost impossible. If you need to cross the redwoods, fly high above the treetops and just keep moving. And then we have caves. Caves are essential for artifact hunting and boss progression, but early game they're an absolute nightmare. They have confusing layouts, giant bugs, packs of direwolves, megalania, and even arthropleura, and sometimes even wild rexes or megalosaurus, and you do not want to deal with those guys. Only enter the caves when you've got strong armor, good weapons, medical brews, and trusty tames. And then we have the ocean. If you're thinking of swimming across this little bay, don't. The ocean is full of nightmare creatures, like the megalodons, which aren't terrible, but they're still an absolute pain if you're on foot. And then we have Tustos, which are the giant squids, and those guys are absolutely terrifying, but they won't mess with you unless you're like deep underwater. And then we have the plesiosaurs and mosas. These two are absolutely terrifying. Again, it's only for like deep sea underwater stuff. And worst of all, we have the jellyfish. One zap and then you're paralyzed and you really can't move. If you're on a dino and you get stung, your dino is pretty much dead. Just make sure to avoid water travel until you have marine tames like an Itchy or a Basilo. Next up we have alpha dinos. These are glowing red superpowered versions of normal dinos. Even a low level alpha raptor can destroy your gear, your tames, and your hopes in seconds. Do not engage unless you're fully prepared, and even then bring backup. Then we have hard maps. Some official maps are not for beginners. Aberration, which has no flyers, radiation zones, and the Nameless that spawn constantly if you don't have a light pet. It's absolute just total chaos. Next up we have Scorched Earth. This has blistering heat, a very little natural water sources, sandstorms, electrical storms, and dragons. Both maps are awesome later. Just for now, avoid them unless you just enjoy suffering. If you've made it this far, congratulations. You've learned how to survive, build, tame, and even breed. Now it's time to face the biggest challenges ARK has to offer, the boss fights. On the island, there are 3 main bosses, the Broodmother, the Megapithecus, and the Dragon. Each of these bosses can be fought at 3 different difficulty levels, being Gamma, which is easy, Beta, which is medium, and Alpha, which is hard. You summon them at one of the map's 3 obelisks by offering the right tributes and artifacts. Now when you activate an obelisk with the correct tribute items and artifacts, you win up to 19 of your dinos plus your survivor are teleported into the boss arena. And then you have a limited amount of time to defeat the boss. If you die or if your time runs out, it's game over. You lose everything. Each boss has its own strategy. The Broodmother spawns waves of spiders and poison clouds. The Megapithecus throws boulders and knocks you out. The Dragon breathes fire and flies, and is the most dangerous of the 3. But before you fight anything, you'll need to collect the right tributes and artifacts. Let's break it down by boss. The Broodmother first has to get 5 Argy Talons, which can be found by killing Argents, then 5 Sarcosuchus skin, which can be found by killing Sarcos in the swamps, 5 Vertebraes, which can be found from killing Brontos, 5 Titan Boa Venom, which can be found from snakes in the swamps, and then the artifacts that are needed are the Clever, Hunter, and Massive, which can be found on screen now. Next up, we have the Megapithecus. This requires 5 Megalania Toxin, which can be found from the cave lizards, 5 Megalodon Teeth, which can be found from the sharks in the ocean, 5 Spinosaurus Sails, which can be found from killing Spinos, 5 Therizino Claws, which can be found from killing Theres, 5 Thylo Hooks, which can be found from just killing Thylos in the redwoods, and then the artifacts that are needed are the artifacts of the Brute, the Devourer, and the Pack, which are on screen now. And then lastly, we have the Dragon. This requires 5 Allosaurus Brains, which can be found from killing Allos, 5 Basilosaurus Blubber, which can be found from harvesting from Basilos, 1 Giganotosaurus Heart, which can be found from killing a Giga, 5 Tuso Tentacles, which can be found from killing Tusos, 5 Tyrannosaurus Arms, which can be found from killing Rexes, and then 5 UD Lungs, which are found from killing those UDs. Then the artifacts that are needed are artifacts of the Cunning, Immune, Skylord, and Strong, which can be found on screen now. These items drop from wild dinos, so be ready to grind and explore dangerous biomes. Once you've beaten all 3 main bosses on Gamma or higher, you unlock the final challenge, the Overseer. This fight is the hardest on the island and represents the end of your journey on this map. To begin the Overseer fight, you need all boss trophies from Gamma, Beta, and Alpha versions of the Broodmother, Megapithecus, and Dragon, plus these Alpha creature parts, the Alpha Raptor Claw, Alpha Carno Arm, Alpha Rex Tooth, Alpha Megalodon Fin, Alpha Mosasaur Tooth, Alpha Tuso Eye, and Alpha Lead Sickness Blubber, which can all be found from killing the Alpha variants of those dinos. This is not an easy fight. You'll face 3 different phases, environments, and heavy damage. Bring your best bred tames, full flak or tech armor, a medical brews, and backup gear. If you manage to beat the Overseer, you've officially conquered the island. After beating bosses, especially on Beta and Alpha difficulty, you'll unlock something special, Tech Tier. This is ARK's futuristic endgame gear, and it completely changes how you play the game. Tech Gear is powered by Element, which is earned by defeating bosses and completing missions on certain maps. You'll also need a Tech Replicator to craft most tech items. This massive crafting station lets you build all of your high-end gear. Here's what you'll eventually have access to. The Tech Helmet, which lets you see enemy health bars, use night vision and zoom features. The Tech Chest Piece, which can let you fly like Iron Man and boost forward at high speed. Tech Leggings, which let you sprint faster than any land dino. The Tech Boots, which prevent fall damage entirely and let you stick to surfaces, and also let you sprint faster than any land dino and take no fall damage. Tech Rifle, which fires powerful energy blasts. The Tech Transmitter, which allows you to upload and download dinos and items. And then the Tech Generator, which powers all tech gear and structures without any gas. And now there's a lot more tech gear to really go over. I'm just going to go over the basics in this video because you're not going to really need a lot of this, especially if you're watching this video. And now to craft tech, you'll need a ton of resources, including element, black pearls, polymer or organic polymer, crystal, metal, electronics, and more. Now the element drops from the bosses, and black pearls can be found underwater in the oceans. Once you unlock tech, you're in true endgame ARK. You'll teleport, fly, and vaporize threats like it's nothing. Early game spears and wooden bases will feel like ancient history. In PvP, tech gear is the meta. It decides who controls the map. In PvE, it's all about the convenience. Farming, flying, and building are so much smoother. If you're planning to move on into the tougher maps like Extinction, Genesis, or Fjordor, which are not currently out yet, having a full set of tech gear isn't just helpful, it's basically required. Now let's talk about mods, one of the biggest features that makes ARK different from other survival games. Mods completely change how the game feels. Some are small quality of life tweaks, others add new creatures, weapons, and even entire gameplay systems. You can find and install mods directly from the mod browser. Here's how to find it. And now here's some things to know. Mods can be free or paid, and yes, paid mods are now a thing in ASA. To enable mods, just go to your mods list, hit enable, and then it'll load it in the game. And then for some mods like skin packs or cosmetic changes, they show up automatically in your inventory. If you install a bunch of mods, it can be hard to tell what each one does, where to find the content, or even whether it's working. Most skin and cosmetic mods show up in a special inventory panel, but many others require you to craft something or unlock an engram. So as you can see in your inventory, just basically take the skin and just drag it over onto your side of the inventory or onto your hotbar, and then you can be able to place that item on structures or even put it on your armor pieces. It's a little bit complex and it's hard to find where your actual mods are because it doesn't really label them. In my opinion, it's a really bad layout, but yeah, it's a little bit confusing. Anyways, there's thousands of mods to pick from. Some make ARK into a fantasy game, others turn it into a hardcore shooter or farming simulator. That's the beauty of ARK. You play how you want. Now that we've covered mods, let's talk about servers, because that's where most players actually experience ARK. Each server can hold up to 70 players at a time, though how smooth it runs depends on the server's stability, which is often a coin toss. There are two main types of servers. Official servers, these are ran by the developers. They're like vanilla experience with normal progression and no admin interference. They're great for long-term survival, if you can deal with the grind. And then you got unofficial servers. These are hosted by communities or individuals and offer boosted rates, shops, active admins, and then custom rule sets, wipes, or events. Now here's the problem. ARK's in-game server browser hides most of the good unofficial servers. You usually have to go to third-party websites like Battlemetrics or Discord communities to find the active, well-run ones. And then just a warning, unofficial servers aren't ran by the devs, which means that the server owner can do anything that they like. They can wipe you, ban you, or change the rules without notice. So be careful, read the rules, join the Discord, and make sure it's the kind of place that you want to invest your time into. Now that you know everything that you need to get started on the island and most of the stuff on ARK, from punching your first tree to flying in tech armor, this is just the beginning. ARK isn't just one map, it's an entire universe. As of this video, there are 6 current maps that are available on ARK Survival Ascended, with way more to come. The full roster includes a total of 12 maps, and as they continue to release, each one brings new creatures, challenges, biomes, and boss fights. If you've mastered the island, your next steps could be Scorched Earth with its harsh deserts and wyverns, or you got Aberration, which is a deep underground map with radiation and unique creatures. But like I said earlier, it is a very challenging map. Or later, you can dive into Extinction, Genesis, or Fjordor, which aren't currently out but will be out soon, each with endgame level content. Every map plays differently. Some have no flyers, some have limited resources, and some will push you harder than the island ever could. If you're ready to explore them, check out my beginner's guide to each map. They should be linked on screen now or at the end of the video or even in the description. Now each guide isn't fully like this one, it's not complete step by step, but it's very clear and it's made for players who actually want to understand how ARK works. Not just to survive, but thrive. Anyways, it's been a long journey. We've covered basic gathering and crafting, stat leveling, taming and saddles, base building and gear progression, farming dinos, power crafting and electricity, bosses, breeding, PvP, and finally, tech gear. This guide is meant to give you everything that you need to succeed as a solo player, small tribe member, or even a PvP raider. Whether you're on official, unofficial, or single player, these steps are a foundation for your future in ARK. If this video helped you out, drop a like, share it with your tribe, and let me know in the comments what guide that you want to see next. And don't forget, ARK isn't just about surviving, it's about ascending. Anyways, thanks for watching.